Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein of California said in an interview on 60 Minutes, "If I could have gotten 51 votes in the Senate of the United States for an outright ban, picking up every one of them, Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in, I would have done it." That is still the goal of the gun control lobby. The Second Amendment is under attack like never before. Some of the bills being proposed in both state and federal governments across the nation are absurd at best and worse, clearly violate the U.S. Constitution.
How dare they?
Illinois passed an assault weapons ban. Assault weapons refer to rifles like the AR-15 and AK-47. Even though the Supreme Court, which is responsible for interpreting the Constitution, clearly determined that these type of rifles are in common use and are legal to own, several states continue to push for an outright ban. New York decided that even though the Supreme Court made it clear that their policy of issuing carry permits is unconstitutional, New York will make its own rules and continue to make carrying a firearm as difficult as possible with its Sensitive Places initiative. California wants to institute mandatory insurance policies for gun owners. That means that if you own a gun, you must carry insurance as you do when buying a car.
Well, that's outrageous.
The next thing you know, they'll mandate carrying insurance to practice free speech and freedom of religion. After all, both speech and religion can be dangerous weapons too, can they not?
That's a good point.
The federal government wants to reverse its position on frivolous lawsuits against firearm manufacturers and encourage such lawsuits through legislation. These are but a handful of bills proposed across the country, and the level of absurdity only increases. The only part that is funny about this to me is when they keep on saying that nothing they propose violates the Second Amendment.
That's hilarious.
Hi, I'm Joe Yeager, certified instructor and founder of Executive Gun, where safe and responsible gun ownership begins. Gun control nowadays is out of control. The ultimate goal is to make gun ownership so onerous and unpleasant that more people will give up their guns and those on the fence won't follow through. They know that what they're doing goes against the Constitution, i.e. is illegal, and that most of it will not pass muster or hold if it does, either because most gun owners will not comply or the Supreme Court will shut it down because the pro-gun lobby will fight back just as relentlessly. But like anything else they're relentless and determined to achieve, they'll keep throwing shit against the wall and see what sticks. And some of it will. They'll keep making ridiculous proposals knowing that the pro-gun community and politicians will disagree.
Ruthless, conniving bastards.
What they're hoping for, however, is that in the spirit of collaboration and cooperation, and for the sake of keeping us safe from scary black rifles, mass shooting, and their made-up gun violence epidemic, we'll acquiesce and give in to a few harmless and common-sense requests. And bit by bit, over time, they hope to erode the Second Amendment into a skeleton of what it is. And we all know that once a right is given up, it is rarely, if ever, reinstated.
That's not paranoia. That's a fact.
I'll agree with one thing. Law-abiding, responsible gun owners do want to keep themselves, their families, and communities safe. We do believe in common-sense gun laws. We just happen to disagree with the gun control lobby on how to accomplish that.
I think that's an understatement of the century.
We want a win-win for all. That means we get to responsibly and lawfully exercise our constitutional right without infringement, and those who choose not to exercise that right are welcome not to. We are not the problem. We are not the threat. That's what responsible and lawful means.
Oh, now I get it.
We are sincere about achieving the end result. The gun control lobby wants a win-lose scenario. They want the responsible and lawful to be stripped of their right so that crime will be dramatically reduced, and they get to decide how to keep us safe. How the heck is crime reduced by punishing the people who don't commit crimes? The objective of the gun control lobby is not keeping us safe. The objective is not even guns. The objective is control.
Ding, 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 bingo, guys.
Allowing criminals to commit crimes without reprimand, cutting law enforcement resources and availability, and letting the worst element enter the country doesn't discourage people from owning guns. It wakes them up to the necessity.
Duh! Why didn't I know that?
It makes it clear that the gun control lobby doesn't have our safety and welfare in mind. It wants to keep us vulnerable and reliant on them for what they prove time and time again they cannot provide. I'm not saying anything both sides haven't heard before. I also think that there are people on both sides that are extreme in their views and are brainwashed. They refuse to listen to anything that challenges their belief and will never take the time to seek the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
There are also those who are very well aware of the truth, but will only use the parts that fit their agenda and narrative. They'll reframe the message in an attempt to convince the ignorant masses that the incomplete truth they present is in fact the whole truth.
That sounds very dangerous. Why would they do that?
Guns are not the only issue this strategy is used for, but it's one of the big ones for sure. There is a lot for the gun control lobby to gain by dismantling the Second Amendment. And for you and me, the law-abiding taxpayers, a lot more to lose than you think.
I don't like the sound of that one bit.
I, for one, prefer to be a student of history, the Constitution, gun laws, case studies, and research things for myself. I want to draw my own conclusions and have meaningful conversations about guns and their role in our lives and culture. I don't expect everyone to feel the same way, and I respect that. It is just as much their right, and I will defend that right. I will not impose my beliefs on anyone and will not tolerate beliefs being imposed on me.
Don't even think about it. Go away immediately.
I am confident that many of you feel the same way. The Second Amendment is imperative in protecting that right and all other rights regardless of which side of the debate you're on, and why it's the only right our forefathers were clear that it shall not be infringed. If you enjoy this video, please smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and watch the next video right here. Train hard, often, and safely, and I'll see you at the range.